I got you later, sweetness.
Hey, how's everybody doing today? Doing all right? Welcome to the... Hey, I want to, personally, I actually wanted to do this before I got into my act. I want to hear a round of applause for the Pizza Joint for having a forum like this and a time like this. It's kind of awesome, right? For the Pizza Joint. I also want to give a little bit of a personal thanks to my friends over here that have been more obnoxious than anyone else has ever met in their lives hanging out with me tonight. My friends supporting me. Thank you all very much for coming. So a little background about myself. I've been in the Army for about 9 years now. 3.5 of those years were spent in the Middle East. Part of the world where the people can't drive worth a damn, don't speak English, and want all the Americans gone. Does that sound familiar to anybody else right now? I asked the Army for a break for my last 2 years in my career, and this is where they sent me. Remind me not to re-enlist.
Don't re-enlist.
Thank you, I appreciate it. Oh, and by the way, additional props for my boy Tom back here. It's his 26th birthday today. Give him a round of applause, man. He didn't actually shave his head. The Army made him bald through stress. No, it's, you know, El Paso's an interesting scene. I've definitely come to... appreciate's not the word, tolerate it here. It's not a terrible town. It's been an interesting dating scene. You know, I used to be married for a little bit of time, got divorced some time back. Coming to El Paso and learning to date here was, challenge is a mild word. I was actually just across the street here a couple of months ago. I was talking to this girl at a bar, and we kind of chimed up on a conversation. I forgot what the details were. But she was picking up that I was trying to ask her to go to dinner with me later. And out of nowhere, like, instead of like a, you know, a simple rejection, hey, I'm not interested, she actually looks and she goes, I'm sorry, honey, I just don't find you that attractive. And I said, you know, lady, you know, and I was joking back, I wasn't hurt, whatever, people say no. Welcome to America, you could say no. She said, you know, I don't find you that attractive. So to make a light remark and keep things going just to be funny, I said, you know, honey, I can't help it, it's glands, I got a couple extra pounds on me. She said, there is not a gland for your face. I wasn't hurt, whatever. I got a bad mouth, I got a sense of humor. I looked back at her and said, that's okay, I didn't want to have to rent a U-Haul truck to take you to dinner with anyway. Okay.
That probably worked.
There's like 500 knobs on this thing, and I'm in the Army because I'm not that smart.
Thank you.
Hey.
Thank you, thank you.
We are all smart.
I said I, not they. Well, there's one other person that's in that audience, but I'm not going to point him out. So, you know, it's been interesting in El Paso. You know, like I said, I was married, got divorced, started dating again after a couple of years. You know, let myself cool down. You need to do that. And I was actually reminded of those times. I was going through my computer, a bunch of old photos. Some of my troops that know I've been deployed quite a bit. We're looking through some of my photos with me, and there were a few in there of my ex-wife. And one of the guys looks at me. I'm not gonna lie, she's a decent-looking woman. One of my friends sees the picture. He says, "Stop, Matt. Is that your ex-wife, dude?" I said, "Yeah." He goes, "Did you have a trophy wife?" I looked at it for a second, and I thought to myself, "Trophy? What did I win? The Special Olympics?" I'm such a jerk, but that's why people laugh. You gotta be mean. I gotta tell you this, people. You have to laugh at yourself. You have to laugh at your situation. Because if you can't laugh at you and the situation around you, you don't have the right to laugh or make fun of, laugh at or make fun of anyone else. So, cheers to that, right? To a good sense of humor. So, because of the interesting dating scene out here, I was led to drink a little bit more. Welcome to El Paso, right? I do love a good beer, though. I was actually recently home for my 30th birthday. That's right, I'm that old. I know I look closer to 45, but that's all right. It's the Forrest Gump widow's peak that makes me look like... Never mind. Calm down, you think I was telling a comedy show. Stop laughing. So...
Oh my God! I don't need a mic, I'm loud anyway.
Fuck yeah.
All right, there we go. Why didn't my Asian audio-visual guy fix that problem? I don't pay you at all. You're the one holding the light. Shut up and hold it. I'm glad you guys are laughing at this. I didn't think I was going to be this funny, to be entirely honest. So thank you very much. I appreciate the boost of confidence. But no, I was back home in Arizona. Missed it greatly. I was home for my 30th birthday. My friends had a band back home. Great band. They got me concert tickets to their show. A couple other big names there. It was a great time. And they gave me props out loud in the audience when they were up on the mic. They gave props to the audience about me. Said, hey, you know, our buddy, he's home, did 3 tours in the Middle East. This is his last birthday in the Army. Could, you know, give him a round of applause. People were buying me beers all night. It was fantastic. I got fed so many beers, I'm pretty sure my pee tasted like Corona with the lime. It was an amazing night. I'm really surprised I remember making it home. People were buying me all kinds of beers, you name it, Budweiser, Michelob, everything that everybody had on the list there at the bar. And one guy comes up randomly and hears, hey man, I heard the band said it's your 30th birthday, you're a 3-deployment vet, I want to buy you a beer, it's a little different, it's a man's beer. And I'm thinking, oh, this should be interesting, everyone else is buying me man's beers. So, you know, I said, all right, who says no to a stranger at a bar, right? He walks away, a couple minutes he's gone, he brings the beer back, he hands it to me, he says, here man, here's this man's beer I was telling you about. I took a couple of swigs of it, it was fine, it was pretty good. I actually drink it when I come here sometimes. But man's beer doesn't apply to what I'm about to say. And, you know, I asked him, I said, what is this? He said it with a normal tone of voice, but in my head, when he said the name of that beer, all man points disappeared because he held it up and he goes, it's a Stella Artois. Ladies and gentlemen, Stella Artois is not a word you can say manly. Arnold Schwarzenegger would say Stella Artois, he would be in the next Disney cartoon. You lose all man points if you try to say that manly. You could be at a Super Bowl game with your friends. There could be beers in the cooler. They could be fighting over who should win the game. They could be destroying nachos, great big huge loud flat panel entertainment center on the wall. If you ask your boy what kind of beer does he want and he tells you Stella, you need to ask him to leave the Super Bowl party because he's not there for the team, he's there for the cheerleaders. It's, you know, I'm drinking, I got my drinking habits from hanging around people from the Deep South, and I don't know how many of you have traveled or have met people who have come from the Deep South. I've met quite a few of them in my time in the Army. There's one raising his hand to go to Louisiana Swamp Boy right there. He's not quite as good as the Crocodile Hunter or Crocodile Dundee. Don't give yourself that much credit, buddy. Those are the guys that taught me how to drink. They broke me in on good old-fashioned Jack Daniels. Let me tell you something. The first night you have hard liquor in your life, don't drink an entire, like, 5th of Jack Daniels. It's not a good idea. I don't remember the next week. It was an interesting experience being in the South. The first story, the first implement of a lack of Southern shyness that I was introduced to is in a mall food court in Georgia. Yeah, a few of you have heard me tell this one at work. This is a good one. I get behind these 2 good old rednecks, because, you know, who'd have figured they were rednecks in Georgia. I get behind them in a mall food court line. One of them, in shock, turns to the other sharply at a reaction. And he turns and looks at his buddy, he says, that's disgusting, why the hell would you do something like that? And I'm sitting here thinking, this should be pretty good. So I act like I'm not paying much attention. And he turns to his buddy and he says, well, I knew if people don't feel good and they feel like they need to throw up, they stick their finger down the throat to help themselves throw up. Well, I was kind of struggling while I was on the toilet, so I figure if I put my finger, and I just walked away before he finished telling me the story. I couldn't let him finish it. It scared the crap out of me. I was not in the mood for Subway that day. I walked over to Sbarro. I don't want a sub sandwich that bad. The South has been an interesting place. I had a soldier while I was deployed, one of our, you know, subordinates in the Army, we call them our soldiers. This trooper with me, we'll just give him the name Cletus. I don't want to put his whole name out there. Cletus is a funny individual. Big, 6'3", stocky redneck fella. This guy would say something stupid in front of the Pope. He doesn't care. He has no filter. True Southern boy, true hillbilly, true farm boy. There was a guy on the camp with us while I was in Afghanistan. Mad as hell, furious about something. We don't know. The guy wasn't on our team. It didn't really matter to us. But he gets a hold of me and he goes, hey boss, you see that guy over there? I said, yeah, Cletus, he looks like he's pretty mad, buddy. Cletus looks at him and he goes, yep, that guy's crazier than a rat in a hot tin shithouse. I had never heard that before. People, I'm 30 years old, I've been to 16 countries. I'd never heard that before. And I asked him to explain it to me. That was a mistake. So he goes to explain to me what they call it, you know, an outhouse. That's the slang term for an outhouse in the South. And he goes to tell me that they make them out of tin sometimes, so they call it a tin shit house. And I was like, okay, that makes enough sense, and a rat gets down there. So then he goes to explain it to me. Well, Sergeant, you see, from the lack of sewage, and when he said that, I was kind of like, it's the South, and judging from his accent, he probably grew up with a lack of sewage, running water, and electricity. So he goes to explain it to me. He explains the whole chain of all of it, and he ends it with, ergo, a rat in a hot tin shit house. when I heard ergo, I didn't even know people in the South used that word. And that, after he finished that explanation, I thought to myself, so that's what you sound like when on your family tree the flowers only pollinate each other. It freaked me out a little bit. It definitely, it opened my eyes to things. In the South, maybe I'll go back one day after I'm done with the Army, you never know. I totally forgot my next line.
Lies.
Where's that guy?
Where's my cue card?
Isn't that what the Asians for?
Ooh, ouch. I remember now, my mistake, my apologies. So, you know, all this in the, like I said, I've been in the Army for quite a while now, and the Army teaches you to be patient. Don't freak out, especially when you're, you know, when you're deployed to a war zone or something like that. Don't, like the old saying goes, it's not over until the fat lady sings. Don't ever freak out. Sometimes you have no idea where the humor is going to come from. You have no idea what kind of funny situation is going to happen next. My first tour in Iraq, we were on this camp. We were all on the other end of the camp from where we worked. And we just got done eating dinner. You know, we put on our body armor and everything. We went back outside. And one of our friends, we called him Johnny. His last name was Johnson. In the Army, we do our last name thing. He went and sent one of the porta-johns to do his business. Well, after about 2 minutes, a rocket comes up from over the perimeter and comes barreling straight at the porta-john. We eyeball it and see it coming right for the porta-john. So, you know, we turn to yell, there's not enough time, rockets aren't exactly slow. So the rocket is coming straight at the porta-john. And it hits the porta-john, doesn't explode, punches clear through the porta-john, hits a barrier, still doesn't explode, embeds itself in the barrier. And, but before the rocket makes it all the way across and hits the barrier, Johnny, dude bigger than me, shoulders the door open, like doesn't even try to open it peacefully and kick it through. Shoulders it open so hard that the plastic little sliding lock that keeps the porta-john closed flops off into the distance. We don't even know where it went. And he comes running out of this porta-john straight for where we're at behind cover at this point. And he's still got his pants and his underwear completely around his ankles. And his rifle slung up over his shoulder, kind of like a guy carries a fishing line. He is running for his life just as fast as I've ever seen anyone run for their lives with their legs completely unbound. And the funny part about this, it starts out, is the only thing that's covering his wedding tackle, as we'll call it, is the groin protector we have on our armor. It's just a little polymer flap that sits there, keeps shrapnel from making you gender neutral. So the only thing that's keeping the world from being completely exposed to this guy is this protector we have in our armor, and it's occasionally flapping up like a pet door in the wind, giving us a teaser of the movie about to play. So he gets up to the barrier, he throws his rifle over to where we're behind cover, puts his hands up, vaults over it, sits down, pulls his pants up, pulls his rifle, and he just starts freaking out. Good 45 seconds go by. The dude is panting like someone's pounding on his chest. Not that I blame the poor guy. I mean, a rocket went right over his head while he was taking care of business. That would wake anyone up. That's the greatest alarm clock on the face of the earth. So old Johnny, he looks at me and he's just got, his eyes are just freaking out. I said, Johnny, say something to me, dude. Are you okay? I figured maybe the rocket hit him in the head, gave him a concussion or something. He just looks at me. You know something, Mac? I was really struggling going to the bathroom until that damn rocket came through that porta-john. We all just busted out laughing. It was an absolutely outstanding afternoon, and that is the light at the end of the tunnel, ladies and gentlemen. Don't freak out until it's already over with. Thank you very much. My name is Greg. I appreciate you tolerating my terrible jokes.
Better delivery that time.
Yeah, I'm getting better. And next up we have, I was rude, I'm sorry.
Yeah, you're an ass. Too small.
Taught by the master. I can't read this. Maybe it's my glasses. Mickey.